With that, let's jump right into the quarterbacks here. Matthew Stafford, it's only available in 43% of leagues, so maybe just a mention if he's out there in your league, Matthew. I think you would like him this week against Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, they resurrected Joe Burrow. They allowed the fourth most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. He's top 5 in passing yards and pass attempts. He's got Cooper Kupp back, Puka Nacua there as well. After that, how about Russell Wilson? We expect him to have to throw against the Kansas City Chiefs on the short week. By the way, he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback this week. For all the dunking on Nathaniel Hackett, the fact of the matter is that since Hackett left Denver, Russell Wilson has been a QB1 as well. My boy, future Hall of Famer Sam Howell at Atlanta. He's had at least 19 fantasy points in 3 of the 4 last games. When they make Desmond Ridder look awesome, Sam Howell's going to have to throw against the Falcons. And then Gardner Minshew, who is going to be the guy for the Colts for the foreseeable future, playing the Jaguars, who allow over 19 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks this season, top 10 in the NFL.
Yep, and look, the thing with Gardner Minshew as well, Colts have a very easy schedule the rest of the way, so I expect that he will be able to put up some touchdown numbers.
Jay, let's look at tight ends here, starting with Commanders tight end Logan Thomas. He was available in 84% of leagues. Monster game against the Bears. The real, yeah, there you go. The monster game against the Bears, and he's got the Falcons, Giants, Eagles, who tight ends are effective against, and then the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't understand the target and reception breakdown tree at all in Washington, but it is
No
skewing towards Logan Thomas for some reason, so he is a valuable pickup. Tyler Conklin
Jokes
for the
aside,
Jets.
the reason is because he's under pressure. Because seriously, like, he holds the ball too long.
Yeah.
The offensive line is a disaster, and he holds the ball too long. So those two things combined, it's just like it's middle of the field stuff. That's why Curtis Samuel, that's why Logan Thomas, he's not letting routes develop or not having time for McLaurin and Dotson to develop routes.
Just as a general rule, anytime a tight end gets 11 targets, they should be rostered the following week. Tyler Conklin against Philadelphia as well for your Jets, Connor. He had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards against Denver.
Zach's leaning on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Again, same thing.
Death taxes, right, and death taxes start your tight ends against Philly.
And then Jonnu Smith. I don't understand the Atlanta offense at all, but apparently now Desmond Ridder can support 2 tight ends and a wide receiver as well as Bijan Robinson. I think the strides that Ridder showed in that game against Houston bode well for that passing offense going forward. Just the level of competence.
He's been on the road, he's a disaster, but he's been good at home. This game this week is at home. He will light up my Commanders' defense because they're so brutal.
Yes.
Make no mistake. 20% target share over the last 4 weeks for Jonnu Smith, by the way. And then Dalton Schultz, to your point, whatever, he did get 10 targets. Now, they're playing New Orleans. The Saints are brutal against tight ends. He'll be on my hate list this week. But in terms of the Texans' offense is better than we think. Dalton Schultz has been a fantasy factor before in his career. Don't love him this week, but he's now scored in back-to-back games. Feels like he's starting to gain a connection with C.J. Stroud.
If you need a defense this week, you could look at the Vikings against the Bears because they're available in 95% of leagues. But how about the Falcons against the Commanders? Like you said, Matthew, that Commanders offensive line combined with Sam Howell holding on the ball way too long. Falcons could put up a lot of sack totals in fantasy. And finally, the Rams against Arizona. Josh Dobbs has been pretty spunky this year, but the bottom line is Arizona still has some struggles. And these are the ones that are just widely available across all fantasy leagues right now.
100%. Yeah.
All right, before we take a break, let's quickly look at the drop bulls because you like all these players we're talking about adding, even if you need a defense, but you got to drop somebody. These are droppable players owned in over 50% of leagues, starting with Daniel Jones. He's not only hurt, the Giants' offense is horrific right now. Gus Edwards, A.J. Dillon, and Dalvin Cook, those guys just can't get anything going, especially if Aaron Jones returns for Dillon and Brees' backfield for the Jets. Tutu Atwell, Elijah Moore at wide receiver. Hunter Henry puts up the goose egg in a disastrous game for all of New England's offense. And Pat Freiermuth, who's been hurt, combined with the Steelers' pass game struggle.
So these are not must drops. These are just if you have to drop and we don't mind it. Again, Packers on a bye this week. So Dillon, he fell into the end zone. We'll talk about this coming up, but he has not been that effective. And then Freiermuth, ideally what you're doing is you're putting him in your IR spot. Pittsburgh is the other team on a bye this week. But if you don't have an IR spot, chances are you're not, unless you're, in a crazy deep league, chances are you could probably risk, if you had to drop Freiermuth, you could probably risk it, because, again, he's not going to play this week.
More depth at tight end than anticipated as well.
And he hasn't been great this year, let's be honest. So, again, I'm not advocating it, but if you're truly up against it, don't hate it either. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.